Hi, this is Anna from Anna's Gotta Crochet, and I have posted this picture. This is actually, I think, my third project with this. I don't know of a pattern. I saw someone doing a video of how to do this stitch on YouTube, and they didn't speak English, and there was no subtitles. It was just watch. There was no audio. So anyway, I watched it a few times and then played with it and did my math and everything and figured out how to do this to make it into a blanket. So this is actually my second blanket that I made. The first one was kind of a white and a rainbow, and that inspired me to make a sweater with it, which I'm almost done with. I've just got to finish 1.5 sleeves and I'm done. But anyway, this is a really nice, easy pattern to do. You can do it while you're not driving, but riding. I do it as, we go on a road trip. Um, and I can do it while I'm watching TV because, as you can see, it's a repeat. There's a 4-row repeat, and it's really easy. So what I want to do is just show you how to do it, and you can use any yarn that you want, any weight of yarn. I usually use a J hook with worsted weight yarn. So you want to use a hook that, well, I do because I want it to be, a nice relaxed fabric. I don't want it to be real stiff. So I usually go up a few sizes in hook higher than what the yarn recommends. So I use a J hook. This is my Pisces. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love these. Um, so I'm using a worsted weight yarn today. I'm going to use this off-white and this same blue that is, let me see, this is Mandela tweed stripe, and this is in horseshoe color. I really like that. Self-striping yarn is actually better, in my opinion, for this because of it gives it a look like you've changed your yarn colors all the way through this thing, which would be a nightmare for weaving in ends. And the beauty of this pattern is that you do not have to weave in ends. So, well, you'll have your starting and your ending on each ball that you use, and that's it. So let's get started. And by the way, this is my first video tutorial. So please bear with me. I also do not know how to do any video editing because that's not what I do. I sell crochet hooks and ChowGoo knitting supplies. So I'm going to go through this all in one run. So let's see how it goes. So we start off with our main color, and if you do a foundation single crochet, you can do that. You're going to do it in an odd number of however wide you want it. I'm just going to do chains and then do single crochet. So if you're doing chains, you want to do it in an even number. So for this tutorial, I'm going to do 12, just a nice little small one. So we have 1, 2, make these nice and loose, or do the foundation single crochet. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I work in the back hump. I'm assuming that you know how to crochet, by the way, too. I work in the back hump. So I skip the first and go to the second, and I do single crochet in each hump. Now, because we started with an even number of chains, however wide you want your blanket to be, when you make your first, you skip that first chain, it's going to end up with an odd number of stitches per row, and that's what you want. So I'll go through here. Okay, almost at the end here. I guess I should have done a few less, but I wanted you to be able to see it. So last chain, that gives us 11 stitches. So now, whoops, drop my chain there. There we go. So chain 1 and turn. That's row 1. So row 2 is just single crochet across. Okay. Now, all throughout this project, you're going to carry both yarns, your main color and your contrast color. So we get to the last stitch. We don't finish it. You're going to stop when you've got 2 loops on, and we're going to bring in our contrast color. Here we go. So bring in our contrast color, and it's going to hold it to the back here, and I will hold those 2 together and finish that stitch. So I will tie those up later. So chain 1 and turn. Give those a little snug there. Then we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch across of the contrast color. Doesn't matter what yarn you use for this. You can use sock yarn if you want to do that much work. You could use a chunky yarn, just as long as your 2 colors are of the same weight. You don't want them of different weights, or it'll make it look kind of wonky. Okay, and we're on our last stitch. There we go. Chain 1 and turn. Now we will do the same thing, single crochet all the way across for the second row of the contrast color. Good thing I only use 12 stitches here, so we don't have to sit and watch me do these boring single crochets. There are just single crochets in this entire project, except when you do your big V's, you're going to use long single crochets. So get in there. Okay, so on our last stitch of the row, we pull up, we have 2 stitches, and instead of finishing that stitch, we're going to put this behind and hold it with your finger. See there, I'm holding it. Get that out of the way. Okay, this is the first piece. We're going to tie that off later, and it'll be out of our way for good. So then you pick up the main color again and finish that stitch. There you go. Then chain 1 and turn. Now I usually give this just a little snug, so not tight, but just so it's, the same size as the other stitches. So then we're going to go single crochet in your first stitch, and the second stitch, which would normally go here, we're going to go down 3 rows. So basically we're going back down to the white. So not in here, not the one below, but that right there. I'll do that again. The next one is a single crochet normal. Then we have a long single crochet, not in that stitch, not in that one, down here, 3rd row, which is back down into the main color. You see? Then a single crochet, and then a long one. Now one thing to note here is that when you're going down to that long one, try not to let this stitch get really big and out of shape. You want it to look the same up here. So single crochet, long single crochet, 3 rows down. Single crochet, long single crochet, 3 rows down. This first row where you're setting up your long single crochets will help you in the future rows for seeing exactly where that stitch goes. So single crochet in the last one. So you know you've got the right number of stitches if you have a single crochet in the first one and a single crochet in the last one. Your long single crochets should not be the first or the last stitch. They are every other stitch along. So then we chain one and turn. Then we're just going to single crochet in that first stitch and in each stitch across. So let's just get these. Across here. So this is our second row of the main color. And our long single crochets only go in the first row of the main color. Okay, we're at our last stitch. So insert, pull up a loop. Now we don't finish our last stitch. We're going to take our main color, lay it down behind, let your finger hold it, pick up our contrast color, and finish that stitch. Okay? Then we chain one and turn. So now we have our main color. Let's cinch that up a little bit. Then we're going to work 2 rows of single crochet in the contrast color. You see, these go pretty fast here. Once I get a couple more rows on here, I will show you how nice the edges look carrying the yarn along. So our last stitch, single crochet, chain one, and then turn. Now, the biggest issue you're going to have is where your yarn crosses over. So what I will do is, I'll make a turn one way, then later I'll make a turn another way, or just pick up your ball and, unloop the two. So we're back at this second row of our contrast color. So we just single crochet across. And when we get to the end, we'll know that it's time to change colors because there will be our other colors of yarn hanging. And in our last stitch, pull up a loop, don't finish it. Lay that color to the back and hold it with your finger. Pick up the white in the front, your main color, and finish that stitch. Then single crochet. Now you don't want to pull these too tight, but you do want them to look like they're equal. So we did our chain one and we turn, move all these out of the way. And now we're going to do again our first row of the main color. Switch that up. Is regular single crochet, then a long single crochet. Now we have these, so you can go 1, 2, 3, or you can just go, okay, it's the one right over that one. And then a single crochet regular. Then 1, 2, 3. Make sure not to let this loop get too big because it's pretty easy to do. Down here. And see how they're lining up? Single crochet, long single crochet, single crochet, long single crochet. Oops, see how I did that one? I made it really big, so let's go back and fix that one. I got a little crazy. So, in there, bring it up, much better. Then our last stitch of this row, went in the wrong place there, and single crochet. And there you have that. This is the back side, or the front side, excuse me. Chain 1, turn. There's your back side. Notice how the V's are wider on the back side. Not that that's really going to matter, because you're not going to change colors. You're not going to pick up the other color till you get back down to here where that other color is. So let's go. Single crochet all the way across for our second row of the main color. And it's just repeating that same thing. You have 2 rows of the contrast color, 1 row of the single crochet, long single crochet, long single crochet, and then 1 row of just single crochet in the main color. So it's 2 rows of each, but your first row of the main color is going to have the long single crochets. And we are at our last stitch here. Now, here is where, excuse me, my cat just decided to get crazy and jump off of her perch up there. Okay, so we would, instead of finishing this single crochet, which you would do on your last row when you get the blanket as long as you want it to be, then you would just close this off, do a single crochet, and you're done. Okay, do a chain, excuse me. But we're not on our last one. There we go. So we're going to lay that one to the back, hold it with your finger, pick up the other color, and finish that stitch. Then chain 1 and turn. And now something I wanted to show you here. In the edge, see how there's, one color, one color, one color. And on the one where we're carrying our yarn, you can hardly tell that you're carrying the yarn. It kind of blends in. And when we're all done, which I'll get to next, we're going to do a border that's going to cover this completely, and you won't even know that's there. And there will be no stitches that you need, or no strings that you need to weave in other than you're starting the ball and ending the ball. Not one on every row. So this is where we're at right now. I'm going to go ahead and make another 4-row set to make this complete square. And I'm going to pause, and then I will come right back and we'll get into the border real quick. But that's basically it. Make it as wide as you want it in odd number of chains. Skip the first chain and then work back your first row of just single crochet, and you should end up with an odd number. Did I say odd number at the beginning? Okay. An even number of chains, and then skip the first chain, and when you come back, you will end up with an odd number of stitches per row, and that's what you want, so that these will line up like this. So I'm going to pause, and I'm going to finish another row on here, and then we will get to the border. Okay, so I'm back, and I decided not to go all the way with this. I'm going to finish this row. Oops, get in there. Now, on my last row, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this contrasting yarn just to get it out of my way. On my last row, where you would be done with your second, because I do a first extra row here, I want to do an extra one up there at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and make a 3rd row of the main color. So chain 1 and turn there. And I'm going to do my last stitches. And this also gets me to where I'm working on the front side. And I'll show you why that's important here in just a second. All right, so you've got your blanket as long as you're going to want it. Get in there. Now, because I am going to do the border in this same color. And I hate weaving in ends. I'm not even going to stop here. I'm going to get to my last stitch. I'm going to finish my stitch. Then I'm going to do a single crochet and a single crochet. They're going to put 3 single crochets in each corner. We're going to be back to this one, so we'll do that. So, actually, no, I did that wrong. Let me back up here. 1 single crochet. So, single crochet there. Then I'm going to do a single crochet in the side. I want to do it in these 2 stitches here. I don't like doing it through the whole loop because it kind of pulls it open. So, single crochet along the side, 1 there. Then 1 in here. This is the first row, the second row of the contrast. Then 1 in the other part of the contrast. Then 1 in your stitch right there. And then 1 in the second row of your white. You could stick this just through that whole gap there, but I like it. I think it's neater if I just do the whole thing this way. Try to keep it as close to the edge as possible. Boy, I am just fiddly here. So I do 1 stitch in each one. If you get through it and it looks like it's getting too wide there, you can do 1 in every other. And I think I may do that on this one. So we're going to back up here. So I'm going to do 1 inside here in the contrast, then 1 in my main color. That's looking better. Then I'm going to do 1 in that contrast. And I think I better do 2 in this one. You just kind of work with it however it works. The nice thing about crochet is you can pull it right back out. If it looks like it's going to be too, I don't know, ruffly or too tight, you can just pull it back out and redo it and skip some. I'm going to skip that one and go in here. Now when I get to my corner, I'm going to snug that back up. I'm going to do 3 in my corner, and I'm going to catch this yarn in there so I don't have it out in my way. So 1, 2, 3 in the corner. And now because we're going along what was the bottom, we are going to just do 1 stitch in each stitch. My fingers do not want to work with me today. Maybe because I'm having to hold them out here so far so that they stay under the camera. And that's an awkward position for me. So 1 stitch in each across the bottom. Okay, we get to the corner stitch. We're going to do 3 single crochets. Gives us a nice flat corner. And now here again, we're going to work across the edge like we did the other side. Just kind of feeling your way through it to see what works. If it feels too tight, go back, hit another stitch. If it feels too loose, go back and skip 1. So we're going to work our single crochets across. And as you see, this is where we have the carried yarn. So we're just going to put that carried yarn right in there. Do a single crochet right across it. Go into our next stitch. Just go right across that. I think I better skip 1 there. Go there, right across, there. See, we're just grabbing the little ends that we carried right here. As you see, you cannot even see them. this was our starting yarn there. Do one there. I'm just going to grab right here, make sure that I get that piece in there. And I'll just put it to the back, because what I'll do when I'm all done, get to the end here. That's our starting one, so we're going to put 3 in that corner. This yarn here is real splitty. Okay, then we're at the top again, so we're just going to do single crochet in each stitch across. And to our last one almost. There's our last one right there. So we started with not having one in there. I'm going to put 2 in there because we only put 1 there. Okay, now I'm just going to slip stitch over here and pull a chain, cut myself enough string. There we go. So there is your blanket. Your bottom, your top. Isn't that nice? And here's what the back looks like. Now this was our starting, this was our ending, our starting. If I'm making just a small baby blanket, it'll usually take me probably about 3 balls of the main color that I use in Premier Yarn's anti-pilling yarn, and I can usually get by with 1 ball of the tweed for just a small baby blanket, but because you use less of this, because you've got your extras here. Anyway, so there you have that. So you weave in these ends and you are done. Now, if you wanted to do another border on this, that'll look really pretty when it's blocked. That'd make a cute little coaster too. If you wanted to do another border of this, you could go around this again, or you could go around this in any other kind of border that you find. There's an awesome book. I think it's something like, I don't know, 100 borders or something. Anyway, you can find some on YouTube or Google them. So weave in your ends. If you wanted to add another border, go for it. If you didn't, this makes a really nice border, and this is a foot and a head. I like to have those. You don't have to have that, but there you have it. So if you have any questions, you can post it below or contact me on Instagram at, there we go, Anna's Gotta Crochet on Instagram. My shop, annasgottacrochet.shop, if you want to get any of these awesome looking hooks here. And I would love it if you tag me in a post and let me know how your blanket come out when you make one. That's it. Thank you. Thanks for bearing with me on my very first tutorial video. Bye-bye.